what I wanted to ask you, man, when it comes to Colorado this year in college football, are they the biggest story in college football this year?
No, I don't. I'll go first. I mean, I'll actually tell you. I'm hell no. I'll actually give you the story. It's the SEC, like it always is. The SEC with Texas and Oklahoma coming over. How competitive this conference has been this season when you got teams like Vanderbilt competing. Ole Miss is right there. I know they lost to LSU. LSU lost to Texas A&M. To me, the SEC teams, even with two losses, are going to be put in the playoffs. It's going to be hard to pick. But to me, the SEC as a whole, especially adding Texas and Oklahoma, to me, is the biggest story in college football just because the SEC was already the best conference. And then you add two teams. One has adapted very well in Texas, and then one lost. Oklahoma for Oklahoma. It's been rough for them. It's been real rough for them, but it's Oklahoma. They'll turn it around. They'll figure things out. They'll see what works and what doesn't work. But to me, the biggest storyline, and I think even moving forward, when it's all when the smoke settles and all that settles, we'll be talking about the SEC as far as who made it into the playoffs, who ultimately wins the national championship. I just think it's the SEC is the biggest topic in college football.
Colorado is not the biggest story. In fact, I think Colorado's actually been quiet, and I think that's a good thing for them. They have never not proven a damn thing. There's no need for them to be talkative like they were last year. I think the story to me has been Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. That to me is like what stuck out more than anything so far this year. Is because every time Alabama loses, especially the loss to Vanderbilt, everybody's like, "Oh, does Kalen DeBoer regret taking his job? Should he be fired?" People need to relax. I think Alabama fans have been so spoiled for the last 2 decades that they need to realize that what Nick Saban did is rare as it gets. They need to accept that he's Kalen DeBoer is going to have a couple losses every year now. He eventually, until he gets his recruiting class, he's not going to have an undefeated season, and that he just needs time. It's not like he lost 6 straight games. If he beats LSU and wins out, he's in a playoff. So I think that's been the biggest story for Colorado. They've turned it around. They started off slow against Nebraska. They got destroyed by Nebraska. Then they struggled along the way. They struggled against Colorado State. I'm looking at their schedule. They lost to yep, they lost there. But even like North Dakota State, they struggled. But now they're finally turning around, and they lost to Kansas State, like y'all said. But no, like they haven't beaten anybody that's that worth it for us to really talk about them. So no, they're not a story. To me, Alabama's been a story and the expectations for them.
All right, I'll go next. Hell no, Colorado's not the not the story. Um, I agree with X. The SEC has been the SEC this year. Prior to this season, I had to keep hearing about the SEC is and everything that it's cracked up to be. Then Texas came to the SEC, and I haven't heard that all year. But I will say this: the SEC, as usual, is the most competitive division in conference in football, in college football. The fact that we have teams with 2 losses that are still in high consideration to make to make this 12-team playoff, and we have undefeated teams ahead of these 2-loss teams that could possibly, if the one of those teams lose one game, they definitely out of there. But a 2-loss SEC team will guaranteed. I can guarantee that one team, at least one 2-loss SEC team will make it in, if not more. Okay, and hell, if one of those undefeated teams ends up losing 2 games, a 3-loss team, SEC team, may make it into the playoffs, man.
Don't put LSU in that.
LSU not gonna
Don't
have
you
3
said
losses.
I don't want you to jinx my Tigers right now. Don't do that.
We're not gonna have 3 losses. I ain't worried about that. All right. So what I'm saying is the SEC is has solidified themselves once again. We are the division, we are the conference that has the best football programs. Yes, we do beat up on each other all year long. Yes, you have Alabama beating Georgia, then Georgia beating Texas, and then LSU beating Ole Miss, then Texas A&M beating LSU. You have these big games. You have these big games, and we beat up on each other all year, every year. Nothing's gonna stop, but it solidifies us that we have the game of the week every week almost. Every week almost, the SEC will have the game of the week. Meanwhile, Colorado has not beaten a ranked opponent. They played one ranked opponent and they got beat. Even though they played close, they got beat. All right. So the the hype around Colorado is based off Deion Sanders, Shador, and the guys, man. It's not based off them actually being a viable competitive team for a national championship. Maybe in a few years, Deion, but I don't know, man. You're gonna have to do better. You're gonna have to do something when your son get out of there. When your son leaves, it's gonna be hard on you, brother.
Maybe go to
Uh,
Florida State.
uh,
Oh,
That
I
man,
mean,
that man's gonna be a Dallas Cowboy coach.
I mean, this is three of the most biased takes I've heard so
oh
far.
my
We
God!
got
What?
three people that hold it down for the SEC. They're from SEC country. We
I
act
do
like
not.
the SEC fell off. The SEC never fell off. The SEC gets a championship team nearly every year. Majority of the teams that make it to the playoffs is from the SEC. So don't act like the SEC was never there. The SEC was talked about last year. The SEC was talking about the year before and the previous year.
I
Colorado
literally just
is
said that.
Colorado is the biggest story in college football. It doesn't matter who Colorado plays. You're gonna watch them no matter what. Do you realize how many people was watching the Colorado State game? The Colorado is the most talked about program in college football right now. I don't think nobody talks about Colorado as much as they do now. They got probably the player that's going to get drafted number one right now, which is Shador Sanders. And I'm not biased to Colorado
Oh,
at all. I'm not a huge fan of Colorado. If you're asking me that, Shador Sanders is probably going to get drafted number one. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is probably going to be named the Heisman Trophy winner this year. He's probably top three in everybody's list right now, not just on mine, but I'm pretty sure he's a top three nearly in everybody's list. And people have said that Travis Hunter is the best college football player in the country right now. Oh, we gonna deny that? Oh, okay.
Okay,
God,
Theo,
that's
okay.
the way I know that they're not the most talked about is because we haven't talked about them on the last 3, 4 shows.
Exactly, exactly. I would actually make a case. I'll actually throw another thing out there since you want me to bring up something else. I would say Miami and Cam Ward is talked about more than the Colorado Buffalo.
no.
Hey, that's in Miami.
Cam Ward is talked about, not Miami. We
Hey,
don't
but
talk
in the
about.
USA,
We don't
but
talk
Cam
about
Ward's a part
anybody
of
else
that.
in Miami.
He's a
We
part
don't.
of that.
We do not
Cam
talk about
Ward's a part of
anybody else.
that.
We don't talk about anybody else from Miami. We talk about Cam Ward. We
Okay, but
don't
he's
bet
a part.
You talk
He's
about
a part
Travis
of
every
Hunter
that.
and
time,
Shador Sanders and Deion Sanders.
every time we mention about Miami, we talk about Cam Ward. We don't talk about the head
You know,
coach.
you
We don't
you know
talk
what
about
I
the
will
running
say
back.
though,
We don't talk
Keo?
about the wide receiver.
You
We talk about Cam Ward.
you know what I will say though, Keo? It's crazy because we're all sitting there. We're talking about Colorado, Miami. We're talking about the SEC. Yvonne talking about Alabama. Oregon's undefeated in the number one team, and nobody's really. They're probably the most underrated or not talked about number one team who we all thought was going to be really good this year, and yet nobody's talking about them. And, hey, that's crazy.
I
Let
think
me
the
tell
only
you why,
reason we
bro.
haven't, the only reason I think we haven't talked about Oregon much is because they're living up to our expectations, and we're just kind of waiting for them to get into the playoff and then go through those games. Really,
Really, here's the thing, man. The number one spot has changed what, like 4 or 5 times this year.
yeah.
I think everybody's waiting for them to lose and lose their number one spot. We just waiting. It seems so temporary that they're there. They're like the number one team by default in everybody's eyes.
They're not gonna lose unless it's in the Big Ten championship game, in my opinion.
I believe you, but what I'm saying is I don't think anybody thinks that they are the best team in college football right now.
I just don't see, and again, I'm not trying to. It doesn't matter who would have bought up Colorado. I'm just saying I just don't see, and I do think that Colorado's a part of the conversation, but I just don't see them talked about more than the SEC and like Yvonne said, what Alabama
But you're gonna
situation.
talk about the SEC regardless, though, man.
Bro,
That's
we
like
get
that
it.
every
Yeah, we
year.
haven't
That's
talked
our
about
topics
Colorado.
every week on this show.
Yeah, we
SEC.
talked
No, it's
more
not. No,
Colorado
it's
last
not.
year.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not an SEC topic every single week. That's
I
that's
feel
not
like it
true at
is.
all. That's not true at all. I could put out a video right now of the topic that says anything about Colorado. It's gonna do numbers.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
They're in the algorithm. They're the most talked about team, man.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not,
yeah,
bro.
they are. They are the most talked about team.
When's the last time we talked
they,
about that?
they got the best. They got the best player in the country. They got the coach who probably going to win Coach of the Year this year because he has surpassed his wins from last year. They got the guy that's going to win the Heisman right now.
Now, what I will agree with you on, I do honestly, I believe this with Keo. I do believe that the college football committee and everybody that's a part, like, behind the scenes, wants Colorado to win the Big 12. I do believe that. They want Colorado to win because they know that's going to draw better numbers as far as the playoffs is concerned.
Well,
Hey,
exactly.
they play Utah
That's a
in 2
big
weeks.
story. What you mean? Of course,
They
they want
play
to see
Utah in
that
2 weeks.
happen.
All that stuff gonna stop.
I don't think that's gonna be stopped. I think as long as Colorado keeps winning, they're gonna still be talked about. Last time I checked, after Nebraska kicked their ass, people said that Colorado's gonna lose the rest of their games this season. Don't look like that to me. And guess what? They're ranked number 23 right now.
They got to
Play
finish.
Utah in 2 weeks.
All right, Keo. Next topic. You're the only one talking Colorado.
Oh, the brothers are arguing again.
and I'm pretty sure a
We
lot
got
of
'em arguing
and I'm pretty sure a lot of people's gonna agree with me right now. Colorado's more talked about than Texas and LSU right now.
Oh,
No, they're not.
They are.
Orange
Yeah, they
Man
are.
and Quinn Ewers? You was putting topics on
You
like that?
talk more about
No,
Quinn Ewers than Manning.
Colorado gonna have the number one draft pick. Colorado got the best
Bro, Shador Sanders
player
not
right
going
now.
number one. Why you keep saying
The reason why people don't want Colorado to win and you guys hate on Colorado, I think because it's Deion Sanders and because he's black, because he's the black head coach. That's the reason why. He's a black head coach. It's about race at the end of the day. When it comes to Deion Sanders, he gets scrutinized more than any college football coach right now. So if you're not, so they're not
Back to
hating
your
on
block,
him
bro.
so
Back
wait,
to your block.
because he's black. Okay, I thought so. You guys don't want to speak on that race issue. I'll bring that race. I'll bring that race issue up, but you guys don't want to speak on them. But I know you guys. It's different. It's different over here, man. It's different over here. That's why you guys scared to talk about that. But anyways, you can go to the college football picks. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, what a disaster! All right, anyway, hold on, I'm pulling this up. I did not know that was next. All right.
Yeah, they don't. I'm sorry, man. They don't want to talk about that. People don't want to talk about when it comes to race and skin color in college football. You love talking about the white football coaches, but you don't want to talk about the black football coach.